hopefully these are just giving you the tools to go off and do that. And so went off and did that. Once it was done, I wasn't like, right, I've done my 30 days. I'm good to go for a while. It was like,
Yeah.
well, I felt like I wanted to keep doing it. So it was like, okay, well, how do I make my own routine? But like you say you meditate quite often. Is
Yes.
that, I presume you sort of intertwine that a bit with your yoga practice as well. But on its own, I mean, I'm going to ask you to explain meditation to me because I feel like it's something I probably just have to try and do. But what I don't know how you know when you're in meditation. Do you know what I mean? Like, when did you sort of realize, oh wow, I've just meditated?
Oh, thank you. That question makes me so excited. I
Yeah,
love to try. I love to try and talk about this stuff. What was the question? When did I know that I was meditating?
yeah. Well, I guess you could start. Why did you first decide that you wanted to meditate? And was it through yoga? Did you discover it through yoga? I'm probably firing too much at you, but you know,
No, no, yeah, no. Yoga came later for me, and I don't want
you're
to.
meditating first.
Yeah, yep. And I don't want to. However you get to yoga is totally cool. I think I might have the tendency to try and oversell it as the spiritual thing and everything else is bullshit. I don't mean to do that. Like, however you get to it is awesome. It's just you and your body, and that's the practice. So learn through that. But yeah, no, I think I was meditating before I was doing yoga. Um, it's a really hard thing to start with. So could you ask the question again? I'm sorry. So I was
It's okay.
meditating before yoga, and they kind of
Yeah.
link up now, but
Yeah. So I guess what I want to know is because it's something I'm interested in, I guess, trying is meditation. And my question stems from when I was doing yoga, I didn't really know what it was to be meditating, to know if I was in a meditative state, if that's even a word, during the
it
yoga,
is.
I sort of definitely felt a feeling that I hadn't felt before, but I'm not sure if what it was meditation. And I think perhaps that is what defines meditation, is just sort of finding a different state of mind. And that's really all it was to me. I just kind of just felt super calm and didn't, like, I often feel like I'm in a rush to do things. It was kind of like my initial thought around a yoga practice was like, right, it's 20 minutes. It's been 5 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. We've got to get through 20 minutes. But then when I was doing it onto my own, it got to a point where it was like, I'm in a position and I could go longer. Like I could just sort of
Yeah.
be in that moment.
So
But I
that's a
sort of
great
had
place for
this,
me to pick up on, and
yep,
I
go ahead.
just because I can see how it would
Yeah,
thread from there. It's like, yeah, you're in the present moment, so you're no longer thinking with this context of time, and you're no longer like halfway. Okay, what am I doing after yoga, and how far am I through the yoga class? You're all here.
mm,
You're just here, and like you're not wanting something else. You're not pushing away something. You're just present. And
mm,
that feeling in the beginning is like, oh, it feels so good. I don't have worries. Like yoga is amazing. And you can fall into the trap of thinking that that's what it is. But the more you access the present moment through a practice like meditation or yoga, and they're pretty much the same thing, man. One is just using the body, and one is taking the body completely out of the picture and just using the mind.
mm,
Uh, but it's just practicing coming back to the present moment. And the more you do that, the less it's this like holy shit feeling, and the more it's just this calm, normal state.
mm,
And then through practice, it bleeds through into your day, and then it just becomes more and more where you're living from this state of like completely being here rather than being scattered across other stuff.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I think I probably overthought what it was before I went into it. It's easy to sort of have preconceived ideas or notions about what a certain thing is. So it's, I guess, to me, why I sort of wonder these things is it's because I kind of thought, when you're in meditation, you sort of unlock this realm of your mind that you sort of, it's almost like a psychedelic experience. Not that I seriously thought I was going to be hallucinating or anything when I meditated, but I think it was underwhelming in a way. If that is what happened to me, it was underwhelming because I think I didn't really realize the state that I was in until afterward. So
Mhm.
I suppose I took it for granted, and then looking back at it, sort of thought, oh well, it was this or that. But it's weird having ideas about what you think things are before you get into it, and specifically like with this sort of thing, like meditation or drugs, that sort of thing as well. That's another thing we get into. But having an idea of what that thing is going to be like before you get into it is weird because sometimes you sort of almost bypass the experience by having a higher
Yeah,
expectation. You sort of go, oh, well, when am I going to be meditating? Or when is this thing going to kick in? But you might have already been there or sort of taken for granted the aspect of what it actually is, having a greater understanding of it.
yeah, yeah. That's such an interesting thing. And so the kind of when I really latched on to meditation, I feel like I touched an experience where I realized, oh, this is definitely worth doing, was through Sam Harris's app, Waking Up. So I'd recommend that to you or
Okay.
anybody who is wanting to get into it. It's quite intellectual, and it takes out the woo as much as possible. Like he's a neuroscientist, so he's like,
What? Sorry, just to explain the woo. You said that a couple of times. What do you mean by that?
oh, sorry, like woo is like hold this crystal to align your chakras, man, and like don't take the Panadol, just like meditate, bro. You know that that's woo. And there's a lot of
Okay.
that going around. Like as soon as you have, like I said, the first time you touch that present moment, it can be like, let's say that happened at a ecstatic dance. And so like you get this feeling of being utterly embodied, expressive, and in the present moment. And then you want to get that more and more, but your community is like a woo community, and that's where you try and find it. So like the
Okay.
woo-ness becomes the source, whereas no, it's quite like a grounded,
Yeah.
accessible thing without the
Okay.
woo.
Oh, that's so interesting. Sorry, that was hilarious to me. Um, so I guess what benefits did you sort of reap from the meditation, and when was it that you sort of realized that meditation is something that is benefiting you? Did it sort of take the first time to go, wow, that is something that I'm going to keep doing, or is it sort of like that didn't really do anything for me the first time? What can I do differently? I mean, that's probably a broad question, but what sort of brought you to a meditation practice, I suppose? Just sort of realizing it did benefit you in whatever
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know where to even start with it. I think I'll just say that like the general approach I'm taking to life is finding people that I admire greatly and trusting them. So like as I was listening to podcasts with people that I admire and hearing, okay, they meditate, they meditate, they meditate. So there's something there, like
Hmm.
smart people that I admire and would like to be that like they're heroes to me do this thing. So there must be something there.
Right.
Um,
So that
but
sort of ties into what we were saying before about having sort of an idea or sort of seeing someone take a certain pathway and I guess following that. So had you sort of taken it on your own to sort of figure out what it was, or had you sort of,
yeah, yeah, I
been
think
introduced through others personally?
it was always kind of around me in the hippie world, I guess. This is kind of where I kicked off my individuality was through festivals, and meditation is always a thing there. But yeah, like I was saying, I do the meditation app with Sam Harris, and his guide is it's a very specific method. But oh yeah, I wanted to talk about what you said before with all the preconceived ideas of what you think it'll
Hmm.
be. And I'm sorry if I'm completely missing
No,
the
please.
question.
We can always circle back. Go
Uh,
where your train of thought goes.
yeah, the trick is like when you realize that that's just a thought. So when you're sitting in meditation and you go, "Am I meditating?" And instead of going, "No, I don't think I am," or "Yeah, it feels like I am," you just witness the thought of, "Am I meditating?" Thought. And all of a sudden, you're this awareness of your thinking. You're not the thinking. And It's meditation is like the bicep curl of that exact small, and it's so subtle, man. That's what makes it tricky. It's so subtle.
Wow.
It's just like a
Yeah.
bicep curl. Every time you catch yourself thinking, you go, thought, not me, thought. And
Right.
you slowly cultivate this space between the thoughts and the awareness which chooses to make actions in the world. And that's the core benefit. When with enough practice, when you start to sort of embody this, you have space. Like something irritates you and you can see irritation, or I feel it in the body. There's a thought attached to that. I witness that thought. I want to yell, but I'm going to choose not to. Like it's just this space away from your emotions and thoughts, which gives you a bit more chance to act in a way that you'd be proud of. And I think that takes a while to really show itself in the world. And I think that's why you have to kind of commit to it for a long time. Um, but it's tricky, dude. It's so tricky. It's so subtle. The
Mm.
differences in, even though they're profound in the way that your awareness changes, it's so subtle in the meditation set. These tiny little bicep curls of like, oh, I
Mm.
was stuck in thought. Oh, I was lost in thought. And that's
Wow.
what meditation is, and that's how it's useful. But
Right.
it takes practice and dedication, I'd say.
Oh, 100%. I can't imagine that would be